All right. Good morning, everybody. This is my session 2. My session 1 was really interesting. My alarm started to ring while I was presenting, so I got that covered. That's EST to PST time zone going wrong. But anyways, I thank you all for being here. And today, we are going to take a look at how awesome admins can start using Agentforce Vibes to start building and be forefront of agentic AI. In this presentation, we are not going to go hands-on with the flows, workflows, all the admin tools. We are not going to open the setup menu. I'm going to briefly show a flow, but it's going to be at a very high level. But we are going to spend most of our time inside of VS Code. And then we are going to achieve what we want to achieve via demo. And then towards the end, we'll take a questions and we'll make it as interactive as possible. Okay. Okay, that works. All right, I'm Shri Kolagani. I'm the Director of CRM Engineering at Elastic, and I've been proactively encouraging my team to start using Agentforce Vibes, and my teams have already started using Agentforce Vibes to deploy some production code, and our admins are also full-on using Agentforce Vibes. And I wanted to bring back some of the learnings from our team at Elastic and then present it to you all so that we could share the knowledge. So by 2028, 40% of the new production software will be created using Vibe coding tools. I would want to challenge that. I think it will be more because there are coding assistants almost everywhere. Every enterprise tool today has agents, and then there is going to be a world where we are going to run into agent sprawl. Everything is going to be headless. If you have seen the keynote yesterday, your coding assistant, your agents are going to have tools that are so powerful that they can just take natural language and convert your idea into a real-time product or a solution. So what's going to be the challenge? The real challenge is going to be the agent sprawl, and then it's really going to result in a burnout. So how are we going to be smart? How are we going to build agents that are reusable, composable, and then super easy to get started with? And then I want to ensure that we are able to ship continuously, we're able to maintain the test quality, and we are able to do more with less in a conversation language, in simple English. And then we should be able to iterate on the fly, and I want the flexibility like that. I want to be able to iterate on my solution, ship faster, and then fail, but succeed at the end, and then take it from dev to production really quick. That said, today we are going to use Agentforce Vibes, which is going to help us with building our idea into solution. And we are just going to use natural language. Everything that we're going to talk in our demo today is built using Agentforce Vibes. It has been used as an assistant. There are different ways you can use this powerful tool. And then I'm going to talk really deeper on that topic. And then we're going to look at how we can plan, code, and test generation with just the natural language. And then Agentforce Vibes, the real benefit when you compare to Claude Code, or say when you compare to Cursor, or when you compare to other powerful agents out there, the real advantage is the context awareness that it has with the Salesforce tools. And then as an admin, you don't really need to go figure out what MCP tools must be plugged in. They're already available to you in your coding editor, in your code editor, VS Code, so that you just can get started the moment you install this plugin inside of the VS Code or the web IDE. And then it has access to the Salesforce DX MCP server. What does it mean? You can now start deploying with a simple English. And then you can even run tests using English, and it brings you all the power of Salesforce DX right inside of this tool. And again, there is no messy connections that you need to make. There are no API tokens that you need to exchange. All you need to do is just connect your VS Code to your org, and you're good to go. And then Agentforce Vibes is available in two forms. One is as an extension in your local VS Code machine. It's also available as Agentforce Vibes IDE. I know Salesforce loves to change names, but it used to be called Code Builder before, and now we are calling it Agentforce Vibes. And then the use cases that you can really think about to get started if you're trying to think about POC use cases or anything that you want to show immediate value to your team. Think about any greenfield projects. Think of when you're thinking about rapid prototyping or MVPs, think about this. And also for the feature development, testing, code quality checks, and then if you want to build React or multi-level, multi-phased apps, this is your tool. And then supercharge your build with the MCP servers. So for the audience who are new to this world, what the hell is MCP? Yes, we took a while to catch up on APIs. APIs are basically the language in which two systems will be able to exchange data securely in a governed fashion. Now, MCP is a protocol that would give the same capability to your agents. So when you think about agents, there are two concepts that I want all of us to be on the same page with. One is determinism and probabilistic nature of an agent. So deterministic workflows are basically everything that we have built so far inside of Salesforce that are flows, workflows, process builders, et cetera. Right? They're very deterministic. We have a decision tree model. We'll say that if A is the input, C should be the output. If B is the input, D should be the output. And then we have a bunch of rules to make the automation as deterministic as possible. But with the agents in place, there is an angle of probabilism, which means that you are also delegating the decision of what deterministic tool to use to an agent. And that's a probability. And today, we are going to see how we can do our best to help the agents with that probability. So we are going to design and look at a demo where we are going to talk about how we can instruct the agent to use the deterministic side of the world, and then build our automation really quick. And then these MCP servers are basically the tools that provide the contextual data to the agent. So we are no longer limited by the models. Today, we are limited by the governed access to the enterprise systems. And MCP servers would let us and gives us that ability to the agents so that, say, if you want to really build a quick prototype in Figma, you don't have to be a Figma expert anymore. You just need English. You need to be able to tell the agent what your idea is, and it's going to build the entire UI UX inside of Figma for you. It's as simple as that. And similarly for the devs, I think GitHub is a powerful tool if you want to commit, or if you want the Copilot to come and review your code. Or you can do all of it right inside of Agentforce DX. I work for Elastic, and then my team has connected the Elastic's MCP directly to Agentforce Vibes. And then we are able to access the log details and the support tickets directly via MCP server inside of Agentforce Vibes. So if you're using different enterprise systems, and if they have MCP offerings, or if you're using MuleSoft, if MuleSoft has APIs, you can translate them into MCPs and bring all of this power to your agent right inside of your IDE in a very secured and governed way, of course. And I missed one thing. There are 60+ MCP tools already available. I'll show how to get there, but you can pick from the selection. If you have got the enterprise tool, you can select it and get started. Trust, this is the most important layer for any agent, right? So for example, we have this entire wave of local models coming in, which are like six months behind the frontier models like Claude or ChatGPT. And the benefit of using Agentforce Vibes is you're not actually training your end models on your data. It's hosted in your trust boundary of Salesforce. And that really, really changes the narrative, because the biggest risk today in the world of AI is security. So you can't put your customer data into a LLM that's not enterprise or secure, because AI is going to get trained on that data, and you don't know what kind of prompt injection or security vulnerabilities you're going to run into. So Agentforce Vibes provides you that secure trust layer and provides you your org context in a way that you can really build your product securely. So now, before we look at the demo, I want to really walk you through each building block of Agentforce Vibes, and just break it down before we bring it all together. First, let's take a look at the plan mode. So in the Agentforce Vibes, we have something called plan mode. Initially, when I started using Agentforce Vibes, I was not too comfortable to give it a prompt and take actions on my behalf. So I used the plan mode a lot, wherein, okay, I go to the VS Code, I open the Agentforce Vibes, and I start ideating with Agentforce Vibes. I go into the plan mode, and I say that, hey, this is my problem, and I want to build a solution. I want you to give me ideas. And I want you to use a flow process builder, or if you want to use Apex, I'm OK with that. This is the security. These are the objects. And if I don't know the object model, I used to ask it. And it used to bring me the object model. And it's going to tell you what exactly is going on. And then you and Agentforce Vibes are partnering to come up with a solution. And that's exactly what the plan mode is. It helps you to collaboratively plan with Agentforce agent to define your requirements and specifications. And this is where you can bring in the determinism for the agent and not allow it to hallucinate. And then act mode, and this is my favorite thing, wherein you're just giving your agent permission to go take the action, to go deploy something that it has built in your plan mode, or to go change a permission set, or anything as simple as that. So it's taking an action on your behalf, and this is the world we are in today, wherein we are in the world of agentic systems. And this, once you're done with the planning, you can quickly move on to the act mode and ask your Agentforce Vibes to start delivering what you have planned together with Agentforce Vibes. And then abilities and skills. I would rather call it tools and skills. Basically, whenever you install Agentforce Vibes, the DX MCP server is automatically activated. And Salesforce, in the keynote yesterday, introduced a bunch of MCP servers. So if you go to your setup menu, and then type in MCP servers, you're going to see all the tools. All you need to do is just activate them, and then you will be able to access them inside of Agentforce Vibes. And I'm going to show you a couple of MCP servers that we are going to use in for our demo use case today. And then the real important component that's going to be key today is skills. Skills are the reusable mini playbooks that tell agent how to perform a specific task, and then how to generate the desired results. So you're going to package all your best practices, patterns into the skill file so that your agent does not hallucinate. So you need to talk to it like a 2-year-old and tell your world how beautiful it is and what are all the gaps. And then you also need to be sure that your skill file is not too long, because agents have a limited context. So you need to be really smart around how you're writing your instructions, how you're structuring your skills file, to be able to ensure that your agent is working perfectly well without any latency, and is ensuring that it's using all the best governed practices that you have got. And then rules. Rules are very simple. So when you think about rules, you need to think about your system level guidance. Is there, for example, if you have a flow, do you have a naming convention that needs to be applied org-wide? So no matter whoever is prompting in Agentforce Vibes, if you want to follow certain policies, you're going to put it in rules. For example, in my world, we have a naming convention for flows, and we wanted to ensure that there is no more than 2 main flows for an object. And then if they need it, they really need an approval, so that we are having a world of subflows, and subflows will start with a different naming convention. So we are trying to bring in hygiene in terms of flows. And similarly, if someone is trying to create a workflow, brute force a workflow through prompting, there's a rule that stops, no, think of a flow instead of a workflow. So we are actually bringing in some level of guardrails, system level guardrails to the agent. And agent always obeys that. It doesn't go around the rules. So that's a good part. And we can get a lot creative here. Definitely in the world of devs, we have like the entire Apex naming classes, test classes, et cetera. And then if someone is creating a profile, we don't allow them anymore. We say, consider using a permission set. And that's the guidance we give to the agent too. So yeah, rules are basically that. And then workflows. Now we have talked about skills, we have talked about rules. Workflows are anything that you feel are very repeatable. Say you have to run a report that is quarterly. You no longer need to go inside of Salesforce, open your report tab, select so many things, and say run the report, and again, import it or export it to an Excel sheet, share it with, go to Slack, share it with somebody. You see how many touch points we're having, how much of context switching we need to do. But with workflows, if this is something that you need to do every quarter, we can put it in a workflow, and that's going to repeat the task for you. And if you're smarter, you can also schedule that task. So enough of the talks. So let's take a look at the demo. So today we are trying to get to one prompt, production-ready flow, except me and Agentforce Vibes chatted a bit this morning and decided to not use a flow. Why can't we just use Apex, anonymous Apex, instead? And I did not write the Apex. I've asked the Agentforce Vibes to write the Apex, and I've just been testing with it, and it works well. So in the demo today, you're going to see a skill that's going to use that's going to be part of the Agentforce Vibes, that's going to use anonymous Apex that's generated using natural language. And then it's a repeatable task, so we are going to put it in a workflow too and see what happens. So the use case is pretty simple. So we have RevOps team who wants to look at the discount risk every quarter, and then the discount risk percentage changes. And then some teams want to look at like 25% as a discount risk. Some teams look at 30% as a discount risk. So it varies. And also the timeline varies. Some want an entire quarter. Few people want just weeks or months. So our use case is to take in a discount percentage that the team assumes to be risk, pull in the opportunities around those discount percentage, and then the timelines associated with it. And then we are going to do it all in this Agentforce framework. We are going to use skills, we are going to use hooks, we are going to use, out-of-the-box rules. I don't have any specific rules except the decimal conversion for discount, but ultimately, we are going to put all of it in a workflow and see it in an action. And what I really want to achieve out of this is when you go to Agentforce Vibes, when you run a / command, I want the result to be directly sent to Slack. I don't want to export it. I don't want to send an Excel sheet. I don't want to use Microsoft. So that's a goal. And I think I spoke this slide in my previous slide, but this is the use case. That's my RevOps manager, Ria. And then she is trying to run a RevOps report that I just explained. And then there are 3 layers, like I mentioned: skill, hook, and rules that are going to work together. And natural language is the bridge that's going to bring all of it together. And then it's going to execute against our Salesforce environment to finally send the report to Slack. And then the challenge that I mentioned is like, yeah, manual reporting, and then the data could be stale, slow alerts, metadata commits. What does all of this mean? In the past, if you have to work on this demo, you need to think about Salesforce DX commands. You need to think about how you're going to deploy it. Okay, you need to open a tab, go to the report, do some manual reporting, manual report runs, and then say if your business user wants the report at this point, you again need to repeat all of the steps inside of Salesforce. So, and then there's a lot of human in the loop here, and then there is a scope for us to automate, and then how simple can the automation get? That's the goal. So to prevent the revenue leakage challenge, these are all the foundational reasons that we had to build this workflow. And I think we have already spoke about skills. So in this demo perspective, we are just going to say when I go to the Agentforce Vibes and if I type in run RevOps report, it needs to come back and ask me what the discount percentage is for me that I would consider as risk, and it should ask me what is the timeline. And then I have got some hooks that are associated with a channel inside of Slack. I have a hook that will ensure that the discount percentage is converted into a decimal. And then I have some rules wherein I am not pulling more than 50 opportunity records, because that will just break my context. So the actual demo, so I'm just going to shift quickly to my VS Code. And then I want to spend some time here in this RevOps quarterly request. And for the audience here, this is literally the first shot that Agentforce Vibes has taken on a skill. And I did not edit anything. I did not go back and forth with it. I just gave it a prompt, gave the demo scenario that you saw in the slide, and it came up with this skill. And then what it's doing immediately is that it's instructing it to give the user some options with the buttons. And then I did not even build the UI components, and you will see those buttons pop up because it understands the VS Code UI UX well. And then it said that 25%, 30, 50 are the quick options that it wants to offer the user. And then there's a button 4 wherein I can request for custom discount, custom timelines. And then once the user enters, it's also telling what are the phrases that should trigger the skill. So it's basically teaching it what could be driving the intent or routing factor for the skill. And then once we get it, it's also asking to get the org silently using an MCP tool, map it to a user selection, and then execute a report. And then it came up with an Epic script because I've asked it to just write an Epic script for me, make it fast. So it wrote an Epic script, and then it said, consider it as a success when you hear back from Slack. And that's it. It gave an example flow. User says, run RevOps report, and then this is the AI response, and user picks 2, and then this is what you need to do, and final AI response should be posted to Slack, and then that's the channel code. So this is the demo. So let's see it in actual action. And before that, I also want to quickly open the skills. So to access the skills, rules, hooks, you just need to go here. And here you can see Agentforce Vibes already comes with bundle of skills. You can see that there's a skill for generating epics, there's a skill for generating custom code, there's a skill for generating a flow, there's a skill for generating lightning apps. Likewise, there's skill for everything now. But we have put in this custom skill here, calling it RevOps, quarterly risk. We have scoped it as a global skill. What does it mean? It has access across our repository. It's not just limited to my workspace. But if I want to have some private skills for me, I would just put it as a workspace skill, which would just keep it in my workspace scope so that nobody else would have access to it. And then rules are just the discount rules and the skill execution. We are telling when to execute the skill. We are trying to introduce more determinism to the agent. And then we are also presenting some global rules wherein when you enter a discount, it's sort of converting, it's rounding into a decimal point. And then for workflows, I'm basically saying that go use the skill, go use the hooks, rules, and then I'm telling it what skills, what hooks you need to use to make it more repeatable. Hooks are basically used for the best practices. So say rules are very static, so you're telling it in a very natural language way. Hooks are more programmatic. So think of hooks like programmatic rules. So if you want to deploy or if you want to say run the tests on every execution of the prompt, you're going to use hooks. For this demo, we're not using hooks. So let's go ahead, and I quickly want to demo you all the workflow. RevOps. So as you can see, it started thinking, I need to understand what task. And then here, I have given the auto approval selections. So for example, I think I've picked up a wrong workflow, so let me just do the right one. So all I need to do is just give it a / command. And then the user wants to, so it understood the intent of the / command. It's saying that the user wants to run a RevOps quarterly risk report. And then like you can see, it's presenting me the quick options. I'm going to pick the one, and then once I pick it, it would start going back, executing the epics class against the configured org. And then it's going to map the output of the epics results to a Slack API call. And ultimately, it's going to say post it to Slack. Now let's take a look at the Slack instance. So here is the RevOps quarterly discount risk report. And then you can access your opportunities directly from here. And then you can be creative about the report itself. And you can even use the agent or some additional skill if you want the tone of the report to be different. So sky's the limit. How you're going to compose your skills, how you're going to chain your skills, you can be creative around your architecture. So that's the demo. And the same thing happens really with even a prompt, run. So let's go to the run RevOps report. And then this is basically would route to the skill, and the same thing again would work in a different way. For me, this was a really good use case for a workflow because it is repeatable in nature. This is something that my team has to do every quarter, so we made it a workflow. That said, let's quickly jump back to the presentation. Multiple ways to access Vibes. It's available freely. It's also available in consumption-based pricing. The good news, Claude Sonnet 4.5 is the base model, so it's amazing with coding, programmatic tools, so it's really nice if you're trying to build something really quick as a prototype. And then thank you all for your valuable time and joining us here to dive deeper into the Agentforce Vibes.